Alrighty guys, this is snugsonblitz and I'm back with another video for you today. So, the Black Friday event returns. Everybody, I hope, has saved up their gold. Of course, most of us spent quite a lot of it during the summer auctions, but that was a few months ago. So we've had some time to save up some gold, get it from events, from tournaments, and of course from videos. So I've got a sizable chunk, 34,000. What will I be picking up? Well, that's what we're going to take a look at today. And what do I recommend you pick up and why? And what do I think is a fair price? Because, some tanks are great. They're just overpriced or underpriced, which means you get them for a very good steal. One thing to bear in mind is that the winter auctions are just a month away. And that means that you're going to get a bunch of tanks, roughly 33 tanks, over the course of 2 weeks, for various prices that will drop day by day. I love the auctions because you can get some tanks that are not that popular for very good prices. What I will say is that in years past, the tanks that appeared in the Black Friday event do not reappear in the Christmas auctions. You heard that right, they do not reappear. So if you see a tank that you want to get or you've been wanting to get, probably now is your best chance. Otherwise, I think you're gonna have to wait for some of these tanks till next year. And that's okay, because they'll keep coming back. So there's no worries. Just the question is, how badly do you want them? To get a newer tank, you usually have to pay a little bit of a premium, but is that premium worth it? That's what we're gonna try and answer with this video here today. I will say I found some good deals and some not so good deals. So let's just dive right in. I don't want to waste any more time. And yeah, of course, you can comment down below which tank you want to get, or you're thinking about getting, or you absolutely are pissed off about because you just picked it up a few months ago for a higher price. But let's get to it. Starting off with the Object 268/4. Yeah, last time this was in the store, it was 22,000 with the camo and 20,000 for normal. Now it's dropped down to 17. Thank you very much. That's what I think is a fair price for a tier 10 tank, 17 and under. That's when I consider buying tanks. Usually I made an exception with the Object 777 because it came back for gold in the draw and I was like, okay, it's going to cost me a ton, but I picked it up. It ended up costing me around 25k. That's the most I've ever paid for any tank, but I wouldn't pay that for tanks that are a little bit older. So 17k is where I start thinking it's a fairer price for tier 10. But as you can see on the screen here, we have a few tanks available for sale, so that's nice. So the Object 268/4 is an armored beast. You can really punish a lot of players. Some people don't know how to deal with it, but it doesn't have a turret. So do you just like an armored beast? Then this is a tank for you. But if you are not comfortable driving a tank without a turret, like a Jagdpanzer, or a Jaeger, I meant to say, sorry, or a J-Panther, whatever, then maybe this is not the tank for you. So we have another choice. We have the VK90. Now this was available in the auctions last year, and I think I said it would be a fair price at 14k. However, it sold out pretty much immediately on the first day, I think for 17.5 or maybe 18. I can't remember. I'd have to check my auction video. But now it's down to 16, so that's looking promising. Out of those two tanks, which would I take? The VK90. Why? More versatility. And it is a very strong tank thanks to the new buffs. So, yeah. But we have a third choice. And now we're cooking here. The T95E6, 13,000. Now I picked this up in the auctions 2 years ago. Got it for a steal. Nobody wanted it. It was not very popular at the time. It was kind of one of the bottom tanks in tier 10, and so people were just kind of letting it go by. I picked it up because it was 12k. I thought, might as well add it to my garage, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Then it got buffed, and I was like, whoa, steal of a tank. So at 13k, I would say that is a pretty dang good deal. It's probably the best deal you're going to get in tier 10 until the auctions. In fact, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a tier 10 sold for this price. So not a bad deal, I would say. If you like versatility and you want to play a heavium, you can play with the mediums or the heavies. This is the tank for you. I would choose that over the other two. It's cheaper and, in my opinion, more fun. But that's just me. you might not agree. We also have this nice little trio of tanks. Now, they're not all great, but the Action X is a fantastic Tier 8 tank. WZ-111 is a standard IS variant, and the T-34-3 is a decent medium tank. So you get 3 very different playstyles from these tanks. That's what I like about this package. Sometimes you get 2 tanks that are very similar in playstyle. So unless you love that playstyle, it's kind of repetitive. But these 3 tanks, very different playstyle. I think you're getting a great tank in the Action X, a solid tank in the T-34-3, and an okay tank in the WZ-111. And for the price, I think it'll be about $15 or something like that in your region, wherever you are. That's a very, very good deal. If you have never bought any tanks before and you're just starting the game, or you don't have any of these tanks, I would say that is a buy. That is a pretty good deal if you ask me. That's done with that little group there. So we're now moving down to the individual tanks, and we've got the WZ-114 here. One of the newest tanks on this list, if not the newest, maybe second newest. I can't be sure about that. Third, maybe third. It's a little overpriced. It was in the store recently for, I think, 14K, so it's a nice drop there to 11K. I think it's an okay tank. The Alpha's powerful. That's going to intimidate people, but it's got a long reload. Arm is okay-ish from what I've seen on the battlefield. If you don't have a Tier 9 tank and you're wanting to get one, I would just go for the K91. It's a better tank. It really is. Very solid Tier 9 tank. Definitely up in the top 20%, I would say. It's a little older. I get that. So you're paying the premium for the WZ. I would say people who've been in the game probably have the K91, so it's not a great deal at this price. I think it's older, so I think a fair price would be 8K now, but it is the stronger tank. So if you want something cool and shiny and not many people have it, go for the WZ. It's not the worst price in the world, but I definitely think the K91 is the better choice of the two. We also have a third Tier 9 tank in the AMX-31 Proto. 9,000. Okay, but this was available in an event, and I thought it dropped down. Maybe the summer auctions, it was like 6.5K. So, yeah, if you didn't get it then, I would not get it now. And it seems like a bit of a not cool deal. I think they should have gone for 7.5K, and then I think I would say pick it up. Not as good as the auction, but heck, if you can't wait, then I would say get it. Now, yes, we have the newest tank in the list, the Hawk 30, which is basically an RU-251. I haven't seen many of these around, most of them being played by pros who wanted to spend a lot of money and get it, or their contributor's account. 12K, I mean, I don't think it's worth that. I think a fair price would be maybe 8K, because it's, newer, I guess. But it's just not a very good tank overall. And you've got the RU-251, which is very similar in playstyle. So do you think this warrants the gold investment? I haven't played it, so I can't say for sure, but I don't think it really offers that much more. So the AP AMX-30, though, that seems to be a stronger tank and a much nicer price at 9.5K. This is the first time I've seen it since it came out, maybe in crates, so that's nice. And it's 9.5K, so I would say that would be the better choice of these two. I've seen people play it. They seem to do quite well in this tank. Hawk, not quite as well. So I would definitely think about the AMX-30 if you're going to pick either one of those two new tanks up. What else have we got available to us? Well, we have the Type 57, 8K. I mean, this is a great deal. If you don't have heavy tank in Tier 8 or you want a powerful tank, this is the strongest for sure. Look at these tanks right here. Well, I have one other choice, so we'll talk about that in a second, but I would say this is definitely a contender. 8K, a little bit overpriced now. I think it was available 8K last time, so 7K would have been nicer, but it's a solid tank. The ML-1951, this is overpriced. Last time it was available 6.5K, I think in the auction or something like that, or if I remember correctly. 8K, no. no. I think this tank is not as strong as the type, so it's got to be down to around 6K in my opinion. So I would give it a pass, but that's just me. The TS5, I picked this up in the summer auction. You know how much I paid? 3.5K, I think. 3.5 or 3K or something, because nobody wanted it. I'm like, okay, I'll pick it up. So 7.5, no. Solid pass. But if you're a collector, don't have it, okay, guess you missed your chance in the summer auction. So, but here is the other tier 8 tank that if you don't have, I would definitely say is a great tank. It's a Centurion Mark V1. I did a review, well, I didn't do a review of this tank. Oh, I do have a review of this tank on my channel, and I just created another video that you'll be seeing in a few weeks about how to play this tank. But essentially, hull down is what you need to do with this tank. So if you like that playstyle, great. If you like the pew pew gun, like fast firing but little damage, then you're golden. Many newer players, I don't think that's great for them because they like the alpha. They like to do the big damage and get behind cover kind of thing. This one you have to peek a lot, and I'm not sure many good players not many new players are good enough to be able to understand that. 7K, a little overpriced. I think 6K would be a fair price, but it's definitely worth 7K. So from these tier 8 tanks so far, I would go with the type or the scent. Scent is probably the better deal, but maybe it's not for everybody. If you want the better armor, generally speaking, and bigger gun, then the type's your answer. Just remember to aim in. That tank is troll as heck. The gun anyway. What else we got down here? We got T54 Mod 1, which I also picked up in the summer event. 7K. I think I paid 3.5K for this as well. So, nope. Way overpriced. I mean, this and the TS5 would have been nice to have seen it around 5K to start. I mean, not start. I mean, that should be in the bottom price because then it would have at least been close to what they were in the auctions. But, oof, yeah, overpriced. And it's not that strong on the battlefield these days. Let's go to T27. This surprises me that it's actually lower than the T54 Mod 1. It's definitely newer. 6K. I think it's actually an okay price for a tier 8 tank. Again, 5K I think would have been better. But I guess it's not the worst deal. But here we go. Light 432. This was last available in the store for 6K. So 5K, nice little drop there, and definitely worth the price. So I would go for in tier 8. If you want the deals, I'd probably go for the 432, the Scent, which is a little overpriced, and the Type 57, again a little overpriced, but the 432 is probably the best deal. If you're looking for the strongest, I would probably go for the Scent, Type 57 again, or maybe the Alt 30, but again, you have to like that playstyle. What else do we have? We have a few other tanks. The E25 4K. No, come on. It's been in the game forever. It's not a strong tank nowadays. Fun tank, but not strong. I would say 2.5K would be a better price for this, and I would say then pick it up. The Titans, it's a newer tank. At 3K, it's not an awful price, to be honest with you, considering it's not that old. Yeah, I'd say that's kind of a fair price, actually, for it. Cromwell B, I think 1.5 would be a better price for tier 6. That's about the maximum I think you should spend on a tier 6, which is the tank next to it, the Staatswagen 74A2. That would be the fair price. But unfortunately, the Staatswagen is not the better tank. The Cromwell is. So I guess I would go for the Titan out of these tanks down here, just because it's a relatively newer tank and the price is not bad. I mean, tier 7 heavy tank, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's okay. So, what else is in the store? Well, we can click on the tanks down here, and if anything else to mention, I'm just going to quickly skim over these. But see, the 121 20,000. I mean, no, just get the ones up in the Black Friday event. Churchill, forget that. Progetto, overpriced. Come on. I mean, camo looks good, and you get these bonuses, but come on. Again, 8K would be a better price. But again, they want you to buy from the Black Friday event, so they're making the Black Friday look more attractive, and yet really it's just not super great deals. But anyway, I mean, some of them are, don't get me wrong. T25 solid pass. Oh, this one right here, the WZ. I mean, it's overpriced. That's if this should have been in the Black Friday, but at 8.5K it's overpriced. So I would say this is a fair price, around 6.5K now. And the Aquila, this is actually a fair price. I think this is a great option. It's not in the Black Friday event, but at 7.5K, you're getting a very strong tank. The problem is it's two tanks combined into one, the E75 TS and the Luva, If you've got those tanks, you think, why do I want this tank? Similar playstyle. I love this tank. I think it's great, but I get it if you don't really want to get it because it's just kind of two tanks just merged into one. So, but actually a pretty good price actually. So I would consider getting that over the Type 57 if you ask me, and it's around the same level as the Cent 5.1. So I think it's actually a pretty good deal, even though it's just in the normal store. So that's about it for my comments about this event. What do I think you should pick up? I think you should pick up what you like. It's simple. I can't say. I don't know your playstyle. I don't know what tanks you have. I give you my opinion of what I think is a good price and a good deal, what you should consider, and the rest is up to you. Just remember, as I said earlier on this video, that winter auctions are coming around next month, so I fully expect to see, well, you know, they nearly always have 6 tier 10 tanks available, roughly. So T22 seems to be a favorite, and everybody seems to want it, even though most people have got it. A lot of new players don't, so my guess is you might see it there. Why? Because you don't see it here today. Another tank you might see in the auction would be the 121, because it's now in the shop, but it's not in the Black Friday event. You might see that. What else would you probably say? I would guess the AMX 54 will be there. Yeah, it's 2 years apart, so my guess is you will find that in the auction. So maybe you want to wait for that tank. What else? I would imagine the Lance and Sea will be in the auctions because it's not here now. I wouldn't be surprised if you see, of course, the Defenders in the auction, as well as maybe Chimera, because Chimera's not here. You might see the Action X as well. Now it's part of a bundle for cash, but in winter it might be available for gold. Maybe even the T77 will appear in the Christmas auction. So you have to think about that. I can't say for sure. I will give you my predictions next month before the auctions come out, just to give you a heads up on what I think will be in the store. Which will be available in the coming weeks. But for now, I'll leave that off. I just wanted to give you something to think about, ponder, because you want to get the best deal for your gold or your hard and cold hard cash. Anyway, that's all I got for you. If you're wondering what I'm going to pick up, I have most of these tanks, of course, but the newer tanks, the Hawk 30 and the AMX 30, I do not have. I don't have the WZ114. I also don't have the 268 and the VK90Y because they were overpriced. I refuse to pay usually over 17K for a tier 10 tank. So I never had a chance to pick these up, so maybe I will. You'll just have to find out in the weeks to come, because I'll probably do a review of the tank or give you my thoughts on my new little shiny toys. 34,000, pick up 2, maybe 3 tanks, who knows. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Hope you enjoyed this little summary of what's available. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are of this event. As I said, I think it's better than last year's event. I think, yeah, last event was very lackluster and there weren't many good deals, but this year, nice. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Snugs on Blitz.